Hey, what's up guys? It's me, PablooogiN, and whoa, has it been a minute since I last uploaded. But hey, I have a pretty good reason. Wow, am I glad that's finally over. Jokes aside, this year has been incredibly difficult for everyone. This year, I'm definitely gonna post more as it's my New Year's resolution, and also, this is my last semester in college, but also, the first semester I take 12 hours, so I'm gonna have a little more time to get things done. I already have a couple projects in mind, and I'll even give you a sneak peek of the next video I'm working on. The idea is to make a dashboard program for my third monitor that's gonna act as a wallpaper, and it's gonna have a bunch of cool info. My plan is to have my stocks, the time, weather, calendar, and a to-do list. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. In this video, I wanted to go over the entire year of 2020 and talk about my classes, some cool projects that I made, and the internship I had. During 2020, I earned a total of 45 credit hours. I still can't believe I was able to survive all of it. I was able to do it because I took an average of 15 hours per semester and took classes during the winter mini-mester, May mini-mester, summer one, and also CLEPTA class. While it sounds like a lot, I really had to take that many if I wanted to graduate on time because I changed my major and I'm also getting a business minor. Having remote classes and most things like clubs canceled helped a ton because it gave me a lot more time than I would have usually had. While it did suck, it did really help for classes. Alright, well let's get started with this huge pile of shit that's 2020. The year started with a winter mini-mester at my local community college. I love taking classes there because they keep me busy during the break and they're usually online, which gives me flexibility I need if I'm traveling with my family. During the mini-mester, I took physical geography and it was just to fulfill my 2 science credits. It was really cool because I got to learn about a lot of stuff that's very foreign to me. The outside. For the spring semester, I took classes in both my normal college and also at my community college. For my university, I took 14 credit hours and it all started with my design analysis of algorithms class. This was my second algorithms class as I'd already taken data structures and algorithms my sophomore year. This class was definitely one of the hardest classes of my degree and went a little more in depth into time complexity, the different sorting algorithms, trees, hashes, NP completeness, all that stuff. Next, I took Programming Studio, which was a course designed to give us experience working on a larger team. And it was honestly the first time I really had to work with a bunch of people for a long amount of time. It was the first time I was also introduced to Waterfall and Agile. While I'd done it in my previous internships, it wasn't until this particular class that things really started to connect. I also took Computer Systems, which is a systems level programming class. This class was very challenging as it drove me into a subject that I was not at all good with. Hardware. While we didn't actually do anything with hardware, we were as close as possible while still using software. We made OS application interfaces, learned about inter-thread process communication, and the way the computers talk to each other. My favorite and most difficult program we made in that class was a client-server program that could send full documents to another computer. We built it up to the point where you could also choose the number of threads and the buffer size. This is one of the classes that I think benefited the most from going remote, as the professor would actually record videos on top of the lecture to explain the assignments and really make sure we were going in the right direction. Next, I took Intro in Computing. This was a general seminar class intended for freshmen and sophomores, but because I was transferred into the major, it was my first opportunity to take it. The seminars were very interesting, but for the most part, it was very basic stuff that I'd already covered in all my classes. The classes were graded solely on attendance, so you already know I was there every single class paying as much attention as possible. Lastly, I took Survey of Management, which was an overview into business organizations, the different methods of management, organizational planning, and how to influence a team to perform at their very best. The most notable part of this class was when there was a confusion on the exam date and I missed it. But trust me, after enough begging, I was able to take it and I passed. While talking about all the classes I was talking about, I was also taking linear algebra at my community college for 3 credit hours. I took it at the community college because they offered it online while my college didn't, and there was no good professors teaching it that semester. It was a good class and gave me a little refresher on things I'd done in high school. Overall, this semester was super jam-packed with classes, and due to COVID, it definitely gave me more time to work on classes, and the professors were a little more lenient and gave more help to students than they would normally. I could not have bagged that 4.0 had it not been for all the curves they gave. It was also very clear that the transition to going fully remote was a lot more challenging to some majors versus others. I know that as a computer science student, most of my classes already had an online component, so it really made it much easier compared to some of my other friends. So with lockdown in full effect, I decided to enroll in a May mini-semester class for my business minor at another community college. The class started a couple days after the spring semester had finished, but I was ready for the challenge. The class was pretty interesting and really taught you how to be a good businessman. After the mini-semester, I was told that my internship would be delayed and go fully remote due to a little thing that was taking over the world. So I decided to sign up for Summer 1 classes again at my community college. They are usually way cheaper than online classes at my university, and if it's not a core requirement, I'd much rather take them there. For that summer session, I took Principles of Accounting. This was definitely the most challenging class by far from my whole minor. And it's mostly because it challenges you in the way you think about money and how you classify it. Let me tell you, creating a balance sheet is no joke. With the summer session complete, I had a total of 3 vacation days before my internship started. Make sure to watch the video I made about that. I'll link it below. The internship was so much fun and we created a full web app. While I cannot disclose anything that we made, it was super challenging with a bunch of late nights, but I loved every second of it, and getting to meet my coworkers and fellow interns was so much fun. I'll be returning there full-time as I was fortunate enough to receive a full-time offer. With that jam-packed summer, I had a whole week of relaxation before classes started up in the fall. And let me tell you, this semester it was just as busy. At my university, I took my senior seminar, which was super cool because a bunch of industry professionals from many different companies came and talked to us about what they did and what the company was like. This class would have been super useful had I taken it the previous semester before I already accepted a job offer. Next, I took Wireless and Mobile Systems, which was about the fundamentals of wireless communication. We learned about the different algorithms for routing the network packets, 802.11 and 5G, among a bunch of different things like the network stack. This was one of the hardest classes of my semester and was definitely the culprit for a lot of late nights.
Oh, boo-hoo. Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Next was the Computers and New Media. This was an elective class that focused on the different ways we consume media and the interfaces of that media. It was relatively easy, and we made an Instagram story web app that would create a story given a topic. Next was one of the hardest classes of the semester, and it was computer graphics. This is technically an elective, but I needed to take it because it's a prereq for game development. This class was super technical and made me really sharpen up my C++ skills. The coolest thing I made in that class was a CPU-driven ray tracer. I really loved that class even though it was eye-wateringly hard. My next class was software engineering. While in theory this would be a really useful class, having had 2 internships, I already knew most of this information, and the stuff I didn't know was very outdated project management stuff. The last class I took of the semester was ethics and engineering. And this class is required of all engineers in my college, and it was definitely a change of pace from the usual math and science classes I take. But it was good to learn. The worst part by far is how big of a difference engineering exams are given versus philosophy department exams. So those are the classes I took this semester, but I still got more credit, and that was through a CLEP exam. Basically, it's an exam that gives you college credit like an AP test. I took the information systems exam and I signed up for it a month before I took it. I didn't study much because it's really related to my hobbies and computers and also my major, so I knew most of the stuff. I bought a course and studied for it a whole week before the exam and I passed it. So that was my fall semester. The online classes got a lot harder compared to the previous semester, but that makes sense because the professors actually had time to plan for them. During the winter, I decided to just take it easy and reward myself with some free time and catch up on movies, games, and travel with some friends. We went on a road trip to the Grand Canyon in Zion, and that was an awesome experience. I highly suggest doing the Narrows if you're ever in Zion. So that was my year 2020 as a senior computer science student. If you have any questions on how I was able to get to where I am, please ask them in the comments below, but the answer is most likely through coffee and sleep deprivation. Thanks for watching, and you can expect the next video in a couple weeks. Peace.